Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we break down those complex corporate filings to find the juicy bits. Today we're diving into Algorhythm Holdings Inc.'s proxy statement for their 2025 annual meeting. And let me tell you, there are some big decisions on the table. This document is essentially your invitation to the company's shareholder meeting, but it is also packed with crucial info about what the company's been up to and what they want your vote on. Think of it as a choose-your-own adventure, but with stock prices and corporate strategy. First off, they're reholding a virtual meeting on the 20th of November 2025. Now, what are they asking us to vote on? It is a pretty packed agenda, including electing 7 directors, a reverse stock split, a reincorporation to Nevada, a big change to their stock plan, and then some important ratifications. Let's start with the board of directors. They're asking you to re-elect 7 individuals. The report gives you a brief rundown of their experience. For example, Gary Atkinson is the Chief Executive Officer and Chairman of the board with a background in law and business. Bernardo Mello brings sales and marketing expertise. Harvey Jukowitz is an accountant with extensive management skills. Jay Foreman has a long history in the toy business. Ajesh Kapoor has deep experience in logistics and supply chain technology. Scott Thorne brings growth strategy experience, and Kapil Gupta offers global technology leadership. The board reviews these candidates, ensuring they have the right mix of skills and experience. Now, this next proposal is pretty interesting, a reverse stock split. Basically, they want the board to have the power to combine their shares at a ratio of anywhere from 1-for-2 to 1-for-10. They used to have a problem with NASDAQ because their stock price dipped below $1, and they actually did a reverse stock split back in February 2025. The goal here is to keep their stock price up so they don't get delisted. They explain that a higher share price can make the stock more attractive to big investors and reduce transaction costs for everyone. However, they also acknowledge that reverse splits can sometimes get a bad rap, and the stock price might not go up as much as expected. Then we're talking about reincorporating from Delaware to Nevada. The main reasons cited here are a more predictable legal environment and potential savings on franchise taxes. They believe Nevada's statutes offer more certainty and could be less litigious than Delaware. This move should not change the business operations, jobs, or headquarters. However, they do point out some differences in stockholder rights between Delaware and Nevada law, including how directors can be removed and business combinations are handled. Next up, they want to increase the number of shares available under their 2022 equity incentive plan to 5 million. This plan is used to award stock options and other equity to employees and directors to align their interests with shareholders. They currently have very few shares left to grant, so this increase is crucial for future compensation and retention. This proposal is about a securities purchase agreement signed in August 2025 with Streeterville Capital LLC. They agreed to sell up to $20 million worth of stock through what are called paid purchases. This means Streeterville gives them cash now and they issue stock later at a discount. This is how they are getting funding, but it comes with a big warning about potential dilution for existing shareholders. The shares are sold at 90% of the lowest daily volume weighted average price. If this proposal isn't approved, they might have to repay outstanding balances in cash, which would be a significant financial burden. Now let's look at the financials, starting with equity compensation. As of the 31st of December 2024, they had 352 securities to be issued upon exercise of outstanding options, warrants, and rights, and a weighted average exercise price of $12.28. Importantly, there were only 318 securities remaining available for future issuance under equity compensation plans. This highlights why they need to increase the shares available under their incentive plan. Moving on to executive compensation. For 2024, Gary Atkinson, the CEO, earned a total compensation of $253,535. Bernardo Mello, the Chief Revenue Officer, made $283,454. For 2023, Gary Atkinson's total compensation was $169,527, and Lino Marquis, who was the Chief Financial Officer, earned $268,000. Looking at the compensation actually paid, figures the CEO's compensation in 2024 was $263,535, and for non-CEO NEOs it averaged $226,302. This shows that while base salaries are steady, a good chunk of their pay comes from equity awards. This section directly compares pay to performance. In 2024, the CEO's compensation actually paid was $263,535, while the company's total stockholder return was a staggering negative 91.26%. For the non-CEO NEOs, their average compensation actually paid was $226,302, while the stockholder return was also down significantly. Meanwhile, the company's net loss widened from a little over $6 million in 2023 to over $23 million in 2024. This is the most crucial part of the report because it shows that executive compensation has not been directly tied to the company's actual financial performance in terms of stock returns or profitability. It looks like they are getting paid well while the company is struggling. In terms of ownership, Gary Atkinson holds about 0.006% of the company, as stock and Bernardo Melo has a very small percentage as well. The breakdown shows that most of the shares are not held by management or directors in a way that would indicate significant insider control. This section details transactions involving people who have a close relationship with the company. For instance, Algorhythm Holdings Incorporated entered into a stock repurchase agreement with Regalia Ventures, which is owned by director J.B. Foreman. There was also a music subscription sharing agreement with Stingray Group where Matthew Peliquin was a director until October 2025. These transactions are presented as commercially reasonable, but it is always worth paying attention to how these related party deals are structured. They are also asking you to ratify the appointment of M&K CPAs PLC as their independent registered public accounting firm for 2025. The audit committee recommends this selection. Markham LLP and Eisneramper LLP were the firms used in previous periods. For 2024, they paid Markham LLP $404,000 in audit fees and Eisneramper LLP received $31,000 for services in 2023. This proposal allows the board to adjourn the meeting if there are not enough votes to pass the other proposals. It gives them more time to solicit additional proxies. The management team includes Gary Atkinson as CEO and chairman, and Alex Andre as chief financial officer and general counsel. For 2024 Atkinson, a salary was $215,000, and Andre has been with the company as CFO and general counsel since February 2025, receiving a salary of $275,000. Algorhythm Holdings Inc. is clearly in a strategic pivot. They are actively seeking funding through share issuances and trying to maintain their NASDAQ listing with a reverse stock split and reincorporation. The biggest red flag here is the pay versus performance section. It seems executive compensation is not directly translating into shareholder value or company profitability, which is a concern. The decision to reincorporate into Nevada is also a significant governance change that could impact future legal battles and corporate decision-making. While they are taking steps to secure funding and comply with regulations, the disconnect between executive pay and company performance is a major weakness. If you appreciate these deep dives into corporate filings, make sure you are subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below for more discussion. Alright, that is our breakdown of Algorhythm Holdings' latest proxy statement. What is your take on these proposals, and especially that pay versus performance data? Do you think the reincorporation will benefit shareholders? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more corporate financial deep dives. And seriously, check out the Discord link in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.